Hey devs, welcome back. I will now create an add button that will be a circle with a plus sign, and it will appear just on the right bottom of the screen. So let's start with a circle shape with a 50 by 50 frame. Then I can change the foreground color into green. Then I will add the plus sign. I will put this in a Z stack and add a plus SF symbol so it will show on top of the circle. Let's make it bigger and change the foreground color to white. I will now convert this into a button. Now, it appears at the bottom of this rounded rectangle because we are currently in a V-stack. I think I will need a Z-stack as well, and will make the alignment to be bottom trailing. And finally, some padding. It's now right where I wanted it to be. I will just extract this into a subview, and I will call this Create Button. I will be doing a lot of subviews today as we create this user interface. Let's expand the Create button further. I am creating a Boolean variable is presented because I am going to use sheets to show the new view over the existing main view. And when the Create button is tapped, I will turn the variable to true and the sheet will show up. Let me just put a hello in this new view just to see it working. Now I will create the view where we are going to enter our daily tasks. I will call this Create View. So let's copy the app. It has a header with the title Create Task and an X button to dismiss this view. I will just fix up the fonts and padding. Now this new view can be dismissed by swiping it down or by tapping the X button. There is like a global environment key called presentation mode that we can use. And when we call the dismiss function, it will dismiss itself. So I will call the dismiss function on the tap gesture of this X image. I will go back to the main view and will change this hello to call the create view. Now that we know that the create view is showing up and we can dismiss it as well, let's now focus on developing the create view. I will create a VStack and push this header to the top with a spacer. And I will also add a divider. Again, I am just extracting this into a subview and we'll call it header view. Let's make sure it is still working as before. Let's talk about this padding. I don't want to put it here in the subview because we wanted control on how the subview appears in the main view. So I will remove this and put it in the main view. That is how I will approach all the subviews. I will do the paddings on the main view. I am now going to create what I will call the what view. This will have the text field where we are going to enter the activity that we are creating. Later on, it will contain some pre-made templates of the activity that we can reuse. So I will have an icon, which are SF symbols, that I will place in a rounded rectangle. I will just put the @ sign for now. I will just change the color and will make it appear big. Then I will create the text field, which will have the initial text answer emails. It will require a data binding. So I will create the state var called activity, and it will be a string. And I will also add a divider just below it. Now we will also have a continue button just at the very bottom. So let's create a text that will occupy the entire width. Then I will convert this into a button with the button style bordered. And I will put a spacer here in the middle so it gets pushed down at the bottom. What I like about SwiftUI is when the keyboard shows up, it carries with it the bottom. During the UI kit days, you have to program this behavior. Now it comes automatically. I was wondering, how do I pass the view model from the main view to the create view as they are separate views? And how do I solve this as it is also a separate file? I tried this out by showing a property in the view model called current date. The preview canvas is failing. But when I ran the app in the simulator, it's running fine. That is because in our app, I passed the environment object. But our preview canvas doesn't know about that because this is a separate file. What we can do here in the preview canvas code, I will create the view model on the fly and add it as an environment object here. I will create the text field as a subview, and I will use it again later on. I will call this task field. I will also move the binding data in this subview. Going back to the actual app, the create button will initially show the data entry screen for the activity. Then, when you tap continue, it will show the rest of the entries to fill. So I will create two views for that, and it will be controlled with this bool variable show what view. Initially, the value will be true, and it will show the view we called what view, and this has a continue button. When I type the continue button, it will toggle the variable to false. Now I will need to show another view with the rest of the details. The next thing I have to do is, whatever I enter on the first view must flow through to the second view. So how will I do this? What I did, I saved the data entry in the view model so that it can be passed around to other views. So in the text field view, I will initialize the state var with the saved value from the view model. If you are wondering how to initialize a state var, this is how you do it by using the underscore and the var label. Then I will pass the view model var each time I call the text field view. Let's try it out. It doesn't seem to work. I think we are not saving whatever we are typing in the text field. Let's do that. So each time the binding data changes, we'll save its value on the view model var. Okay, so now it works. It's about time we create a new model. So we have a model for our calendar. Now we create a new model for the tasks. I will create a file called My Planner. And here, we will start with the model for the task. Our task will have the text description, and we'll make this identifiable as we are putting this in an array later on, and we will use it in for each. And we're also doing some comparison with it when doing search. And later on, we'll add the date for this task as well, and its duration. But for now, we're good with just the description. Then we'll create the My Planner model, and here, we create the array of tasks. Let's also create a test array for now that we'll use to build our layout. I will create two entries of tasks. I will now go to this second swipeable stack where we have these yellow rounded rectangles. This is where we will show the day view. So I will extract this into a subview and call it day view. In this day view, we will go through the array of tasks. For now, we'll use the test array of tasks, and we'll show them as text in a VStack. So this is asking that our struct must be hashable in order for us to use this in for each. We can now see the two tasks being shown. Now let's look at the app and copy its design. So that we can design the view for this task, let's extract it into a subview and call it task view. And we're going to pass the task that is being displayed. And we can put back the text here. We will also need the icon. So I will copy the icon from the task field. But instead of rounded rectangle, we're going to use a circle. We'll place them in an H stack. And also, I will need a check mark here that we can toggle to indicate whether the task is done or not. And we'll place it in a circle background as well. Now we also need a thin line here that connects the tasks. But we don't have line shapes in SwiftUI. So we'll just use rectangle and make the width very small. So these lines will grow long or short, but we'll deal with that logic later on. We'll just have to change the alignment so this view appears on the top. And we'll remove spacing between views so they will appear connected. I will be adding some placeholder for the time so we can copy how the app looks like as close as we can. So there's also a time here on each of the tasks. You know we have two views here, the what view and another view, that will actually create the tasks. So let's try and save the task into the model array. So this view will have a create task button, and when we tap on that button, we will save the task in the array so that it will be displayed in our main view. So let's create the saving function in our model and view model. I will create another model here that we can access. This is now our task model. And we'll create the function createTask. As we already saved the task description in the view model, we will just save that in the task array. So the function would just get that description and will append it in the array. We also need to mark this function as mutating, as we are changing the value of the array inside the struct. Struct by default are immutable, so by marking it mutating, we are allowing the array to be updated. Let's just create an access to the array in our view model. We will also have initially two entries in the array, just like what we did in our test data. So in our for each, we no longer going to use the test data, but will use the array from the view model. And one last thing, after we create the task, we will also close this view. I will end this here, as I'm struggling currently with the wheel picker for the time. So I will update it next time. Happy coding!